source the data in a quicker manner and faster manner. We cannot do in MySQL or any database, but Elasticsearch we can do that. We can use the Elasticsearch to foster response for the searching, which Elasticsearch is the basic responsible for the handles large amount of data, and we can source the data using query language in the Elasticsearch. And uh, let me open the YML file of the what I have done, and let me show you first the what is the pipeline of the Logstash. This is the Logstash pipeline. I told you, right, like input plugin. So input plugin is this one, which has the values. The configuration which we got from the uh, like uh, from the YML file, because there will be different pipelines. There will be multiple pipelines we can use for the different tables. If we want to read the data from the different tables in the MySQL, we are going to use the different pipelines. That's why we are supplying the data. Variables from the YML file. Like this is the YML file from the lost tax service. We are sending directly to the MySQL pipeline. So let me explain what is this MySQL YML file. Uh, Basically, we have done all the services. We have Dockerized all the services. We are not running locally. We have done this is the MySQL service, and this is the Elastic service, and this is Kibana. And what is this Kibana? Kibana is a visualization tool for displaying this Elasticsearch data. Actually, it is a user-friendly way to interact and explore the data whatever we have in the Elasticsearch, and it provides the dashboard also, like open search dashboard. And this is the Logstash service, and all these services are sharing the data using this key called network. So using this key, it exchanges the data between the services through the Docker itself. And let me explain what is this field. Let me explain what is this keys in the configuration file. So if you see this connection string which comes from the Logstash service, which is in the MySQL demo YML. So this is the JDBC. If you see this JDBC colon MySQL colon DB, these are the usually Logstash input plugin, which connects the database called MySQL. It uses the JDBC, that is Java database connector, for the connecting the MySQL to the Logstash input plugin. So these are the variables which we process, which we supplies to this pipeline directly, and we have to write the statement MySQL statement to get the data. So whatever we have done here, it will reads the data and sends to the output plugin. So before that, there will be a filter plugin. This is the optional plugin which we can use it like if you want to transform the data before it sends to the Elasticsearch. We can use this filter plugin. Um, like if we want to remove any data, data column in the table, we can use this filter plugin, and we can remove. And we can, if we want to modify the any column in the table, we can do that, use this filter plugin. um, we have used one of the filter plugin called Aggregate, which gives us the nested object of the three tables, like you we I have done like users cards and user cards, three tables. I have missed the uh, those two tables using this statement, and sending to the
Sorry to
output
interrupt
pipeline.
you, Venkat,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yes, come.
I didn't got the idea what is Logstash and why we are going to use. You are explaining the syntax, but I didn't got the idea
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
what
yeah,
Logstash actually. We can
yeah,
go means we can look into the syntax I guess later.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
first I need to understand what is Logstash
What is
and
log
why
stash?
we
Yeah.
are. Yeah.
So, yeah, Logstash is basically used to sync the data from one database to another database. Like you can sync the database from MySQL to Elasticsearch. So the Logstash is just a pipeline to sync the data from any source of database or any source like CSV file to the Elasticsearch or any database. That is the main purpose of the Logstash pipeline.
So it needs to be a database, right?
Yeah, it needs to be database or any source like CSV file also.
So it can be anything. So it does. It needs to be a data source and a data also what do you say, target. Now that source could be a CSV, and your target could be let's say a database, or it could be Elasticsearch and so on and so forth, right? But typically we use it with Elasticsearch. The target is always typically Elasticsearch, and your source could be any source you want.
Okay, can it be a SQL dump? Means
I'm not very sure. Yes, any idea there?
No, if you are doing SQL dump with Logstash, na, then basically you're what you call you're not using Logstash correctly. It is for real time syncing kind of, Salman. So right now, like if you see like when we are syncing to Elasticsearch, now we are using SQS and all those things, and we have done a lot of coding and all, correct? And then we have to manage those things. So Logstash is like a daemon service for you, which will connect like to which will help you to create pipelines, okay? And in the pipeline you can basically what you call parse the data, transform the data also, kind of. So it saves the effort over there. And it not only just connect the databases, you can like suppose something happen in my I can trigger like whenever a new user comes to our system, automatically from the Logstash pipeline, it should call the SQS and the mail should go to the user welcome mail. So those kind of thing I can configure in Logstash. So it's a real time pipelines you can create using
so it will
Logstash.
listen to database or our server.
It is listen to the database means
Means you're
so
telling if there is a new user, that means
yeah,
there
yeah.
will be
E-
uh, a new row
yeah,
in our uh, database tables, right?
yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah, in a moment, what? One second. In a moment, I will show you the logic for it. But the overall thing is, we are using JDBC driver. Okay, so we are listening to MySQL database. Okay, and then you can specify your query. Like I want to get users every time a new user comes to the system. Basically, you have to write a logic, and it will keep listening to the JDBC via JDBC driver to your database, MySQL, Postgres, Aurora, any database. Okay, and then you can transform the data you want, and then you can push it to multiple sources. Like you can push it to a Elasticsearch, you can push it to SQS, you can push it to SNS, or you can push it to a simple post API somewhere. Like those things you can do, kind of. Okay,
okay,
so
understood.
yeah, and plus, apart from listening the database only, it can read from CSV file. Like so, you can say like we have 1 lakh user data in a CSV file, and we wanted to I mean, push it to Elasticsearch or MySQL. So you can do it via Logstash. It will save the effort of your coding. Okay.
Okay.
So yes, I have one question here. So since it is just a connector of between two of the databases, right? One can be a source, another can be a target, right?
Yeah,
For
but
real
it will.
time syncing
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
data.
Yeah, so it do collect, parse and transform the data. तो collect करो,
Y-
parse करो, and then transform करके you can push it.
Yes. So the okay. So can we use it for say some third party database as well, say some CRM tool or say something like that? From if we make any changes in in our database in a particular table, then it
Mhm.
should reflect same in the uh, maybe some third party CRM database also.
You
'Cause-
can do like there are multiple way of doing it. Suppose the third party CRM, if they have export the API, for example,
yes,
huh?
yes.
So you can call their APIs. Okay, if they are using, for example, MySQL, Postgres, or some database which Logstash provide you a connector. Okay,
Hmm.
then you can use that connector for the output. Okay, and if it does not provide a connector, and you know that it is not a frequent data, for example, then you can basically call a lambda function also, like via an SQS. So I will push the data to SQS via SQS. I can build my workflow. So those kind of thing basically you can do. So if the
Hmm.
connector is there, output connector, you can directly link it. If not there, you can build your own workflow, because it give you a capability. If anything happen, I will push it to somewhere, like you have the option of SQS, SNS, or APIs and all those things, correct?
Okay.
Otherwise, what you have to do, if something happen, then you have to manually push it to the SQS, or you have to manually like handle it, no, in the code kind of. Then you have to maintain the other things in
Yes.
the code. Yeah. Then
Yes. That
yeah,
becomes difficult over a period
yeah.
of time.
And it you can run multiple pipelines here also. So like can create one pipeline which is syncing data from MySQL to Elasticsearch user data. Okay, I can create one pipeline like suppose order table is updated, so send notification to users. Okay, so it can handle multiple data pipelines, and
Yeah.
the deployment is pretty easy. Like you have to just so I will show you the code, and how can you we can run multiple pipelines and all. So those things I will show you. Okay, any other questions? Sorry. Document from S3. We have to check that it's provide the S3 as an input connector or not. Mhm. But there is a different workflow from S3 you can do, but let's discuss those workflow later. Okay. One question, Asai, are we recording this session?
I think
Okay, cool. Okay, Sai, continue.
yeah. Let me show you the real-time data sync from the MySQL to the Elasticsearch. So Elasticsearch will be available in the 5601. So uh, let me show you how to start this Docker account. So we have to give Docker compose steps, and we have to give the YML file. Uh, you know. And whatever the data it is synced to the Elasticsearch, it will be the available in the index of whatever we have given here. And if Logstash reads the data from the MySQL, it will show here. I mean, it will show whatever it processes the data and sends to the Elasticsearch. It will show here, and we can go there to the Elasticsearch, and it will be accessible.
So now it is syncing with the database, or that will happen later.
No, no, no. Actually, right now pipeline has started. It will start for like that second, like 1 minute. it will take like 30 seconds to read the data. It is now reading the data from the MySQL. If you observe, this is the data which Logstash reads the data and processes it and sends to the Elasticsearch. This will be available in this 5601, and this is the default query in the OpenSearch dashboard. If we want to search any index, like it will be stored in the index, so we have to um, search with the index and slash. We can search. So whatever the data which got read by the Logstash, it will be. I mean, after pausing, it will show here in this index. So this one we have already implemented in the Nero Street, and it got successfully synced from the MySQL to the Elasticsearch.
Sai, can you go to the code one? MySQL pipeline code, and can you explain? Yeah, so Salman and everybody, the here if you see now, this is pretty simple logic. This Logstash take only three strings. Okay, input, filter, and output. If you see like line number one input function is there, or you can say a configuration. Then you have a filter configuration, which is optional, and then you have a output configuration. Okay, so again I told you na, like read from one source, collect, parse, and transform it and send it to the destination. Okay, so in line number 14 you can write whatever the complex query you want. Okay, you can write, you can basically have a view, you can call it you can basically create a view and you can call the view here, or you can, yeah, write any complex query using join, left join, inner join, whatever you want. Okay, and it will provide you, like we have like this logic in line number 26, whenever his user is updated at and it's greater than SQL last value. Okay, so when this daemon service is running, it is storing that SQL last value. So we have taken as a timestamp, you can take it as an ID, anything you want. Okay, so it is like matching. Okay, my last run is like 628, and if anything comes after 628, if the updated is more than 628, then I have to sync those data only. So it will not sync all the data. Okay, so in first go it took all the data, it synced it, and then subsequently our logic is based on the updated at, we are syncing the new data only, or whatever the new data have been updated. Okay, and it take care of the data updation also. Like, so if you see line number 32, we have made ID unique, so automatically it's taking care of create and update statement. So if the data is new, because based on the ID in Elasticsearch, it will create the data. If the data is old, I have already this ID, it will update the data. Okay, so we don't have to write create and update statement by ourselves if we go via SQS flow or somewhere something else. Okay, so it take care of those things also. Understood?
Understood.
Okay, and the only thing we try to make it in JavaScript. Like if you see line number 34 to 42 na, we wanted to write JavaScript code here, but unfortunately the Logstash 8 version depreciated using JavaScript. They are like forcing us to use Ruby on Rails. Okay, so Ruby on Rails language, basically Ruby language, sorry. Okay, so this is Ruby code. Like for transformation you have to write Ruby code only. Okay, understood?
Yes.
Continue, sir.
Yeah. So this is the pipeline of the SQS, where the SQS is like a simple queue system, Amazon queue, simple queue system. Whenever there is an updation in the table, or whenever there is a new user comes into the database, it will send us the message. So this is the Docker file of this, and yes, I think this is that's it. Yes, from my side.
Okay. Guys, so if you see that MySQL pipeline configuration, can you go MySQL pipeline configuration? This is MySQL pipeline. Okay, SQS configuration. Sorry, my bad. Can you go to this second one? Yeah, the same thing is happening here. Like we are reading it from the database, and if we want, we can do a filter here. And instead of pushing it to Elasticsearch, we are pushing it to SQS. Okay, and we have given SQS configuration like the URL, queue name, region, access key, and secret key here. Okay, but when you go to the deployment queue and production, basically we can avoid line number 28, 29. We can use IAM roles also here. Okay, yeah, Emmanuel, go on.
Well, I see that you are using MySQL. So isn't it possible to use another database like Postgres or MongoDB?
Yeah, if you see, we have a third file here, Postgres pipeline. If you see, so I will
Mhm.
give you how this is working. So here, if you see the configuration and JDBC driver, it is Postgres JDBC driver and JDBC driver class, line number 8, line number 7. So now our source, our input source is Postgres database instead of MySQL.
Okay.
Go on. Okay, so now how we have made this thing. So like it, like if someone is using this, if someone want to use this Logstash, how can they basically use in their project? Okay, so the first thing here what we did, if you go to the Docker file, Sai, can you go to the Docker file? Okay, so if you see line number 1, we have taken a base Docker file. Okay, and then we have added these plugins, line number 3 to 6 plugins. Okay, these plugins is like if I want to use a Logstash with OpenSearch. Okay, so I have to use this plugin. So it provides lots of plugin because the Logstash can connect to many inputs and many outputs. Okay, so right now in our tech stack, only these plugins was needed. Okay, so we have added only these plugins. Okay, tomorrow if we come to a use case, okay, we need one more plugin for making an HTTP call, for an example. Then basically we'll add this plugin also here. Okay, and I think Satish has shared the list of plugins which is available uh, for the for the connection with yeah, Logstash. Okay, so this is the Docker file we are making, we have created. And in the if you see line number 10 and 11, okay, so you need what you call jar file also, like for MySQL and Postgres. Okay, so we made that flow also easy for you, like you don't have to go and download the correct version and all. In the Docker file we are copying those jar file also, so you don't have to manage anything. Okay, and we are building this Docker file and we are pushing it to our Docker hub. Okay, we have created an account with MVP Rocket Napsys, and we are pushing this Docker file over there. So can you, Sai, can you go to the hub?
Yeah, yeah,
Go to
yes.
the hub. Okay, so if you see here, so we have named this image as MVP Rocket / Logstash, I believe. Correct. Can you click on repositories? About repositories. So this is account from Napsys, and 1 second, it's loading.
Yeah,
Okay, go there. So this is the repository, and here we are pushing the versions. Okay, so tomorrow, suppose if we add one more plugins or we made any change in the image, like okay, any upgrade happen and all, we'll update the Docker file here and we'll push it to MVP Logstash. Okay, so any project we want to implement or using Logstash, like MVP Logstash, will get the update. So they don't have to manage like jar file versions and all those things. Correct? Cool, Abhijit. Any question till here? Then I will show you like how we have used in one of the project need words. Sorry, need worksheet. Any question till here? Please raise your hand. No question, I assume. Okay. Uh,
Hmm.
Let me share my screen then. Okay, able to see?
Yes, Ash.
Okay, so now if I go to PHP Docker Compose YAML, okay. So in this project, if you see, we are using Napsys MVP Logstash, okay. So we don't have to configure the jar file and all those things here, okay. I have to just configure the environment variable. Like for this scenario, I'm using MySQL and OpenSearch. So I've just configure my configuration, and then I'm just sending my pipelines, okay. Like whatever the pipelines I'm making. So I made one pipeline here called MySQL OpenSearch uh, what you call integration, okay. So just I've written this code, my open search code. If I want any filter, I will add it, and that's it, okay. And the open search need a schema file also, so I can send the schema file also here. So like whatever the data is coming, I have created a schema file also for it, okay. So when it's up, it automatically create the user index with this appropriate schema, and then it will start listing the MySQL, and it keeps syncing the data, okay. So, and tomorrow, if I have to add one more thing, for example, from order table, I want to push it to SQS. So I will come here, I will create that configuration file like this way, and automatically it will be present here because I'm syncing the directory. Correct. So I don't have to do anything. I have to just keep adding it here and just validating that Logstash is syncing correctly or not. Okay. Now, any question here? This is how we are developing in local right now. Any question?
So yes, I know Salman asked it, but I'm still confused. Why do we still need Logstash?
Sorry, why you need Logstash if you are
Yeah,
using?
come again.
Sorry, I didn't get your question. You said why we need Logstash if we are using?
No, I was saying I know this question was being asked by Salman, but
Hmm.
I'm still confused. Why do we need Logstash?
Why do we need Logstash? Okay. Let's take a scenario. Okay. We have a products. Okay. Okay. And we are building an e-commerce website. Okay. E-commerce website. Okay. E-commerce shopping website. I will write. Okay, where we have a search functionality where you can search via product name and all those things like Amazon. Okay, now from the admin panel you are updating product name, his price, etc, etc, description, attribute, etc, etc thing. Okay, now the search is working from the elastic search. Okay, search you have implemented using elastic search, and your products, it is in main database MySQL. Okay, now if we want a functionality like every time when somebody is updating a product, it should automatically sync to Elasticsearch. Okay, so what are the way we can achieve it? It's an
Okay,
open question, guys.
yeah, I see.
Hello.
Yeah, so you mean that Logstash helps you to stay
Yeah,
in sync with? Okay.
yeah, yeah. Now suppose if I'm not using Logstash, okay, I'm going with the different approach. Okay, so what will be my approach? Okay, if any data updates happen, then basically it should go to an SQS. Then SQS should read it. So there will be some listener. Then I will have some, I will read again from the DB, read from DB, and then do the transform like the way I want to update to the Elasticsearch. And if it's a new data, I will create it or I'm going to update it. Correct? This is the
Uh-huh,
flow. This whole flow we have to build. Correct?
uh-huh.
If I'm not using Logstash, okay. Now if I'm using Logstash, so what I will do, I will go this configuration, I will write my select statement. I can write any complex statement like select star from product, inner join, everything like attribute and all those things. Where if the product is updated, like, so I know, okay, when the product is updated, any latest update happen. So suppose before after 640, is there any updates happen? Because I'm keeping that value. I'm just doing incremental thinking. Okay, so automatically this daemon or this service will read that data. You have a small filter code here only, like the transformation which you are going to write this one in the in your code. And you have to just show, just tell, okay, where you have to sync it. Then it will take care of creating and updating also, and you don't have to create this whole flow again. Okay, and suppose tomorrow comes one more flow, like you have an orders come to your system, you want to send a confirmation mail to a customer. Then what you can do, basically I can say, okay, any new orders come. So I will write a select statement here, like updated at it's like more than 640, automatically it will take. And if new order come, it should go to the SQS automatically. So I can configure the in this way, like it should go to the SQS. Then I don't have to write again the whole logic of pushing to the SQS. Like after order is created, I have to call a background service, sorry, a code to push this thing to the SQS, correct? It will automatically take care here. And any transformation also will be taken care, so I don't have to manage it in the code level. So it will uh, what you call decrease the effort needed to do the job.
Okay. Yeah, I see now.
Now it is clear, everyone, like what is the importance of Logstash. uh,
Yeah, Yash.
yeah, correct. Okay. So now come to the deployment part. Okay, so now the
So if we
deployment.
need
Yeah.
more than one, let's say statement, so we need to create more than one configuration file.
More than one statement or more than one pipeline
Means
you want?
let's say we need three or four listeners, or let's say
Three.
we need user changes and order changes, or let's say any table changes. We want to push that to Elasticsearch. Okay. So
Okay.
for that,
Okay.
do
Mhm.
we need to create a different configuration file, or in one configuration file itself we can handle?
Okay, so your question is, suppose if products is changed, then it should
Yeah,
go to the product index, for example. If the
yeah,
users is changed, it should go to the user index, kind of like in Elasticsearch. So
yeah,
here
kind
you
of.
have yeah, then you need a different what you call pipeline. So you have to be multiple pipeline. The one pipeline is product pipeline, second pipeline is user pipeline. Okay, so like this
Okay.
one is reading the user and syncing it to user index. Okay, then I will have one more pipeline which will read for the product and sync it to the product index. Okay, but I can write the query like inner join user addresses also, and if the change is happen in the user address also, I can handle it with the where condition. So I can write complex query, but your destination should be one only. Okay, in this case.
So you mean like we will be spinning up multiple Docker containers for one container for one service, one pipeline? Is it?
You can run multiple pipeline in one container. Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
because when we are giving it in the Docker Compose YAML, we are saying, okay, up this Logstash instance and take all the configuration file from here. So if you remember when Sai was up his system, Docker Compose
Hmm.
up, so it is showing like one pipeline is running, correct? One current
Hmm.
one, something like this. Okay, so it can handle multiple pipeline. Okay, and there is one more thing which I have read, like, so here it is thinking to open search. Okay, same data you want to push to SQS, you can give it here like this. So SQS also you can send it to the same what
Understood.
you okay.
Hmm.
So you can do it in this way also. Okay. So if we want to one more pipeline, I can add it here and just automatically it will take care of it. Okay. Clear till here?
Yeah, understood.
Okay. Now how to deploy it? Okay. So the one thing you can deploy it, like you can take an EC2 instance, you can install Logstash over there, you can install all the plugins which you needed to make this work. And yeah, and then you can sync your configuration file, and basically you have to up your Logstash. Okay, this is one way of doing. Okay, in which you have to manage all the things. Okay, Then there's some another way is Docker way. Okay, so you have to just write this a small line of code which will take care of all those things. So now if you see here, I'm taking my base image which we have made with all the plugins and jar file and all those things. Okay, then only thing I'm copying is here my configuration, same which I explained in Docker Compose file. uh, Take all the configuration file from here and take all the user schema, if anything, if I'm dealing with Elasticsearch. Okay, take all those things here and create a Docker file for Docker image. Okay, and push it to the appropriate repository in what you call in AWS ECR. Okay, so only these three lines of code will deploy your this complex logics. Understood till here? Like we are creating an image and we are pushing it, dockerizing the flow. Any question? Hello.
No, Yash,
Okay.
from us.
Okay. So once you push it to the ECR, let me share my other screen. Okay, so electric container registry. If I go here, this is the repository where we are pushing the image. So if you see, I pushed this latest version. Okay, so whenever I have to I have to send new image, like I made a change, I added a pipelines or configuration, I will just publish that image here. Okay, now the benefit of using this image thing is whatever the image I'm going to run it in QA, I will going to run the same image in UAT and same image in production. Okay, the risk of anything got changed between the UAT and QA is pretty much zero. Okay, so I mean every time we don't have to sync code to different environment. Okay, we can just like we from the Docker hub we take the image and we run it now same way. Correct. Any question till here in this ECR, guys?
No.
No question. Okay, now this is an ECR. It is like a doc. Sorry, someone is saying, someone want to ask any question?
No question.
No question. Okay, so this is Elastic Container Registry is like a Docker hub only, uh, but is Amazon Docker hubs. Okay, now I want to run this image. Okay, so I will go to Elastic Container Service ECS, and here I will create a task definition. Task definition is nothing. For the time being, you can say like in the Docker Compose YAML, we have like Logstash one configuration, no? Like where we are giving the environment variable and we wanted to uh, run it. Okay, same kind of thing. Okay, I have created this task. Okay, so what is this task? Okay, so I'm telling, okay, take the image from this ECR. I have done it here. I will not go to the execution rule right now in this call. Okay, then the container side, I want 2 CPU, 4 GB memory because this is the minimum configuration needed for Logstash. Okay, here is my container is ready. Okay, to run it. Okay, I can see the JSON also here. One or two things like the environment variable, I'm taking it from the S3. So I've given the S3 here. So if I go to S3, this is here I have hosted my environment variables, whatever is needed. Okay. Nero Logstash. So I have hosted qa.env here, and I am sending. Okay, when you are upping the container, just read it from the S3. Okay, I have automated that one. Then we have something called health checkup. So for Logstash health checkup API is this one. So we have configured the health checkup also. Now, okay, so this task is done. Okay, so any question in task? Like task is nothing but a container. We are defining the task. Okay, we will run this image with these configuration, and this is the check API and so on and so on. Just the definition. That's why it is named task definition. Any question here?
Okay, so you mean like we just gave all the configuration over here, and whenever we want to spin up it, so we can just spin
Yep.
using that task definition, is it?
Yeah, task definition.
Oh,
Uh, any question, anyone's? Then we'll go to the last segment of this flow. Okay. So now, task definition. Okay, the considered is this thing. In your room, na, you have enable light, fan, AC, everything. Okay, but nothing will work until you give the electricity. Okay, so this task will not work on its own until you give it the computation power. Okay, or clusters in other sense. Okay, so for example, if I can run this cluster, this task, like I can, yeah, run this task like 10. I can spin this task 10 times. Like okay, 10 instance should be running. Okay, or I can run one also. Okay, depend on the use cases. Suppose if it's an API container where I'm running my node.js code, then I will run 10 instances, just for an example. Okay, but this is the Logstash where we are creating a pipeline, so I'm running only one instance. Okay, so how I did it, I went to this create a cluster, name the cluster, then go create a task, run new task. Once you click run new task, you will have like okay, existing cluster, I want to run it in this cluster only. And capacity, you can basically say okay how much capacity you want in this cluster. And then launch, group handling, or wrong running computer. Okay, these are something allocation types and all, I will not go. Then I will select here my task definition. So I've created this task definition and the revision. Okay, because I can go, I can update this task definition. Okay, then it will come as a revision 2, revision 3 whenever I update anything. Okay, so I can say okay, I want to update later, I want to run only one, uh, sorry, I want to run the latest revision only. Okay, desired task, like I can say 10 also, I can say 1 also. Okay, to 1. Then networking. Okay, this is little complex, like which VPC you want to run, which subnet you want to run, what is the security groups and all. Basically, like in an EC2 instance also we define VPC, subnet, and the security group, so same. So it is just an on demands. Okay, and nothing else change. Okay, then a basic create. Okay, I won't create here because it's already running. So if you see, the task is running. Okay, and we have added a health checkup also. So it is keep uh, pinging the container that is healthy or not. Okay, and I started 1 hour ago, and it is using 2 CPU. All those things are here. If I go to this task, here is the whole task definition. uh, where it's went, sorry, configuration, running, when I have started it, and all those things. What are the configuration just we added, and what are the containers running. Okay, I can go here, I can see the logs also. If you see, it is running. Last execution happened on 1852. It is checking that any new user is there, so I will sync it. If not, I won't sync it. And the same log is going to CloudWatch. We don't have to do anything. When we are creating the task definition, we have to just say we want this to be in the CloudWatch or not. Okay, same thing is happening here. If you see, when we run on 1817, I think 820, these user got synced automatically. Okay, that's it. That's it, it is done.
So I have one question.
Hmm.
Assume like I have a very big table
Hmm.
and I want to implement this thing. And at first, we need a lot of computation.
Hmm.
And can we spin up multiple tasks and use the same database to sync that table?
In this case, na, like so if you run multiple pipelines right away, na, like if you
Mhm.
spin multiple instances, the
Mhm.
problem is which instance, every instance will read the same
Same
records
data. Yeah.
and same. Okay, so Logstash, if you wanted, like you want clustering in Logstash also, correct? So right
Mhm.
now I'm running one instance. If I want to run multiple instance, na, then the
Mhm.
configuration is little bit different. Okay, like you have one master Logstash, and then you have other Logstash, and you have to connect both, so they can share the what you call offset and all those things. Okay, key. Okay, I'm reading till 100, you read the 100, kind of thing, parallel
Mhm.
execution
Okay.
kind of.
Okay.
Okay,
Batching kind of thing. We have to
yeah,
like. Okay. Okay.
yeah.
We
So
have to give context.
yeah, that kind of thing I read about it. So I have to read about how to do it in the container, but it's in easy to instance, you can do it pretty easily, kind of, because there's the documentation or the previously, na, like whatever the document they have mentioned, they have mentioned on the EC2 instances, or yes. So
Understood.
in the container service, we have to do an R&D for it.
Understood. Thanks.
Any other question, guys? Yeah, yeah. So it is just reading the data from the MySQL and syncing it to Elasticsearch. No, it purely depend on the schedule. So it is purely depend on the schedule, and your select statement should have the logic. Okay, when mean which record we have to read. Correct. So like we use updated. Suppose you have an order incremental table, no? So you can have like order ID in the SQL last value. There's something which this guy maintained. Okay. Uh, any other question? Okay. Satish, you want to add anything which I missed? Satish, you are not on mute, but we can't hear you, or I can't hear you.
Same on my side.
So on the configuration file, you mentioned we can add a trigger and we can send data, and let's say in Elastic we can create or update the data. So let's say we have a scenario where let's say if we update one row in let's say in database in Elastic, we need to update more than one row. So how will we tackle that scenario with this?
Uh, Sorry, I didn't get you. Like you.
Let's say we have
Hmm,
a service category, okay,
hmm,
and we have service.
hmm.
So if we update, let's say status of service category, okay, we need to update all the services in Elastic only. Let's say,
All the survey Elastic only.
yeah.
You can do it. Like let me share my screen. One second. The same record you have to update in multiple places. Correct? Kind of.
Yes.
No, it's talking about multiple records in the same table, multiple rows
Yeah.
technically.
Yeah.
Multiple
Right.
rows.
Yeah, so I think that in the query that we are building, right, can't we manage there itself? The query that we are writing, no, the update query.
Yes, because this query select query will give you multiple record. Like suppose where status is
Yeah.
changed, so it get like 10 records. So it will update the index with 10 new records, or it will update the 10 records in the Elasticsearch.
Okay. And here we can only update one table at a time, right? Let's
One
say
index.
for yeah, one index. Let's say for one row change. Let's say
Hmm.
we are changing one row and we want to update two, three tables.
Two three indexes. When you say tables
Yes.
mean indexes in OpenSearch, no?
Yes. Yes.
So the thing is you it provide you like one input can when reading it from one input and pushing it to multiple destination. Okay, so like in the open you can have like okay one more OpenSearch instance here, I believe,
Okay.
because I've seen, and you can say okay in index user also in index products also update the same thing. But I don't think though the same record should be there in the two same indexes, sorry, two different indexes in OpenSearch. So most probably your scenario will like if something updated in one table and I have to push it to multiple data sources,
Yeah.
then it makes sense. Like I will have one OpenSearch and I will have one SQL, I will have one HTTP post kind of thing. Because in the search, I won't keep like one data in two indexes, the same data kind of. Or if the I will create a multiple pipeline if that is the scenario.
Okay. Understood. Yeah. With multiple pipeline, I guess we can handle
Yep.
that type of scenario.
Yep. Anything else? Any questions?
So Yash, does Logstash and I mean, does Logstash listens to on whatever changes happened on the database in real time?
Uh, Apart from the database, you're saying? Apart from the
So
database.
I mean, does Logstash listen to the changes or to updates in real time?
No, it is a schedule based kind of like you have scheduled your pipeline like every 1 second. Okay, check in the database, is there anything happen?
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah. Okay. I
so
see.
it make a connection to the database. We have a query and we have a scheduler. Okay.
Okay. So the connection is not maintained. So it connects, and then after checking it disconnect, right?
Yeah, it connected to the database and then it is checking that any new change happen or not. Okay, it is not
Yeah.
like database is pushing. Okay, there's some change and you have to take care. It is Logstash keep asking like, okay, is there any change? So you can schedule. Okay, after 1 minute I will ask. After 10 minutes I will ask every time to the database.
Okay. And you said it's possible to connect to the Postgres, but is it possible also to connect to MongoDB?
I think Satish has shared one input plugins, correct? So there we can check like it provide lots of what you call inputs. So yeah, we have to check like it provide MySQL, MongoDB or not.
Yeah, sure.
So yes, like when we are pushing to Logstash,
Mhm,
so when we consume that post data,
mhm.
does that remove from the Logstash? Like, is there any functionality we can remove from the Logstash index?
Logstash is stateless. Like basically, it read the data, it process it. It is not keeping any data
Oh,
on its
okay,
own. It is just a
okay.
pipeline. It is not a database. It's a service. It's a deep service which is creating a pipeline between two data sources or two destination source and destination.
Understood. Understood. No.
Any other question? Any other question? Okay, so I believe that is Satish. You want to add anything?
No, he texted.
He texted. Nothing more to add. Okay, cool. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. This
Thank you.
was really great. I like it.
Yeah, thank you, Emmanuel.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, bye. Take
Thanks,
care.
I. Thanks, yes.
Thank you.